All right. Well, welcome to NFL Film School. And today we are going to be talking about the Bengals' thrilling victory over the Atlanta Falcons. And Andy Dalton was a huge part of that. And Tyler Boyd was a huge part of that. So, John, take us through what you saw.
Right. So I think there was an offensive explosion in the first half. They ended at 28-24, and big reason why the Bengals ended up leading with 4 touchdowns on the board happened because of a couple reasons. And I think we have to mention that the Falcons are their head coach is Dan Quinn, who comes from Seattle's cover three based defense that focuses on a single high safety. And what was key in this game was that not only did they not have Keanu Neal, he usually plays this role as the box safety, but they also didn't have Ricardo Allen, who plays their free safety. So they had a backup in DeMonte Kazee, who had to fill in one of the toughest roles in football, and that's the single high safety in a single high defense. And what happened was that the Bengals offense, Bill Lazor, designed a tremendous game plan and a tremendous scheme to really exploit the Falcons for using a backup free safety and not really adjusting for their injury issues here. So we're going to take through just a couple plays of how the Bengals exploited this weakness. So the first play, we're going to have AJ Green in the slot in the 3-by-1. AJ Green in the slot is something that we've seen a lot so far this year. And this is just another play of
and he's had amazing success there. He's had amazing
success. Yeah. I think he had his first 3 touchdowns came out of the slot formation. This is just another big play here. So we're going to have man coverage across the board. He's going up against Robert Alford, who's on a big second contract as well. And Alford's going to give Green free release. He's working on inside leverage, so he's trying to force Green to the outside. But remember, single high safety, you don't have a safety on the boundary here to help you out for any deep routes over the middle. So Alfred has to quickly recover and make sure that Green doesn't stack upon him, and that's exactly what happens. Protection's good for Dalton. Throws a beautiful ball to Green, who, again, just beats Alfred off the snap. Alfred does no help, and again, this single high safety is put in a bind because he has to watch out for this vertical threat down this sideline. He has to watch out for Tyler Boyd doing anything over the middle. This little hook route, this little curl route for Boyd takes care of the middle of the field. It occupies him just enough so the single high safety can't get over to this area fast enough to give Alfred any help. And anytime you have AJ Green in a one-on-one situation, you're going to take that, or at least if you're Andy Dalton, you're going to take that every time.
So why couldn't they go away from the single high safety?
I think just in the first half, the Falcons were a bit stubborn and wanting to make it work, even if they didn't have the personnel to do so. And we're going to get to them adjusting to that in the second half as well. But for these plays that worked in the first half, a lot of it had to do with them just trying to stick to the scheme that they're familiar with, and based off the personnel they had, it just didn't work out.
Okay.
So second play, we're going to see Tyler Eifert originally lined up here as the flanker position on the boundary. He's going to motion inside. And as you see, Alfred, again, he was guarding Eifert on the boundary. He doesn't go with him. So this is a telltale sign of zone coverage. And we're going to see a lot of underneath coverage here. But again, that's single high safety. And this is the same drive that Green just burned Alfred off the slot on the last play. So the safety is going to be watching Green very closely to see what he does as he goes towards the end zone. But this play is ultimately going to end up in the hands of Tyler Eifert. So right here, we're going to have 2 what we call vertical nod routes. And the nod basically means Green is going to run up, look like he's running some type of medium out route, and then go vertical. Safety he's already got the safety's full attention. He's basically committed himself to go to this play. But on this side of the field, where Dalton is eventually going to turn his head back to, we have 2-on-2 situation. But these guys aren't playing man up coverage. And if one of these two gets over the top, they're relying on this safety to help them out. But the safety is, again, Green already burned them on this side of the field on this drive, so the safety's full attention is on Green, and this leaves Eifert all alone in the back of the end zone for one of the easiest touchdowns that he'll ever score. As you see on that type of little nod route, it kind of got the linebacker to bite and not maintain a certain level of depth where he could actually recover to play the rest of the vertical route. So this is also a testament of the kind of route runner that Tyler Eifert is, and that kind of skill that they're going to miss when he's out for the rest of the year.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, that is. I remember seeing a stat that they were basically just using him as a receiver. I think it's Goodberry, or was it? I think it was Goodberry, right?
Yeah, yeah, I
Yeah,
saw that too. Yeah, they
yeah,
didn't they used him a little bit as a blocker, but for the most part, he was just a big wide receiver, and I think that was kind of the plan with him going in, not only to limit his snaps, but to also to capitalize on what he does best as a football player. And I know that there were some people that were mad about how he was even on the field outside of these situations where they would reserve him for this situation, and then he got injured, I think, near way on the other side of the field. And I know some people didn't want him playing that, but again, this is football, and you can't always reserve those guys when you want the best guys out on the field. So it was unfortunate what happened to Eifert, and we wish him a speedy recovery.
yeah, yeah, for sure. But there's no chance he's back this year, huh?
No, he's going to be on IR. They haven't officially
Yeah,
placed him on there, but because they still have a roster exemption for Perfect. But as soon as that roster exemption runs out, Eifert will be placed on injured reserve.
yeah, that's too bad.
So here we have the next play. A similar formation. We're going to have another 2x2, and Eifert's going to be motioning towards the slot again. This time, number 33 for the Falcons. He trails with him, so this is a telltale sign of man coverage. And this is also a condensed formation, and these kinds of formations work when you're trying to get to the boundary with a lot of misdirection. And what we're going to see here is, again, single high safety. This side of the play side of the field here, far side of the field, just has two defenders, and they're in good, and as we saw by 33 going over to Eifert, this defense is in man coverage. And what we're going to see, we're going to have a couple crossing routes going over the middle, going to take these two out, and the safety is going to see all of this and kind of cheat towards this side of the field, obviously where A.J. Green and Tyler Eifert, their two most dangerous receiving options are. He's going to cheat over this side of the field. All this action going towards the field side of the field is going to leave Giovanni Bernard plenty of space for this perfectly well-timed screen. Look at all this space in front of here for Bernard to make work of it. All he has to do is outrun the edge defender who does his best to prevent him from getting to the first down. But the safety finally meets him, 20 yards past the line of scrimmage. This is just really easy yards, and another testament to Bill Lazor really taking advantage of the Falcons trying to be stubborn in their scheme, trying to make things work when it just won't, because these two crossing routes take away the only defenders on this side of the field. The safety has to make up so much ground. This is what is this? 25 yards away. That's a lot of space for a guy like Giovanni Bernard to do damage.
Yeah. There's a quote that I saw today about AJ Green saying, how well Andy Dalton sees the field and the adjustments he makes. That was one thing that we didn't see a lot of with Ken Zampese in the short time he was offensive coordinator. But what do you think about these calls? How much of the credit should we give to Andy Dalton?
I think it should be equally distributed between Dalton and his offensive coordinator. Obviously, there are some plays where Dalton is making adjustments at the line. He's noticing where the safety is lined up. He's noticing what coverage is. And most of these motions that we saw from, in this case, Eifert, for example, it is kind of that buffer to tell you what kind of coverage or sort of what kind of coverage that they're running, and he'll make adjustments accordingly. But I think this was a play call that they reserved for when the Falcons were in this kind of look. And again, having those receivers so close to the formation, so close to the offensive line, it really condenses the defense as a whole. So when you have these sort of route combinations that take the only play side defenders onto the other side of the field, it really opens up a lot of space for this kind of play call.
Yeah, great play call.
So now we're going to have Giovanni Bernard motion out of the backfield towards the boundary here. We're going to have Dalton in an empty set. And again, a single high safety. And they're going to run their own variation of 4 verticals. We're going to have Eifert release on sort of a wheel route. AJ Greens are going to run the vertical. And it puts the safety in the bind. He's got to deal with so many vertical routes, and he can only cover so much ground. And on this side of the field, we're going to have the route combination between Boyd and Ross. They're going to kind of cross here. Boyd's going to run sort of a clear out route towards the boundary, and Ross is just going to run straight forward against this variation of a cover 3 zone. This perfectly splits the two deep thirds that this cornerback and this free safety have. Dalton puts it around the money for Ross. And it's really just, this is kind of what we talked about, before the season, about how the Bengals can make this kind of offense work with the weapons that they have, but maybe the minimal protection that Dalton might get. Spread the ball out, take advantage of some soft zone coverages, take advantage of teams playing single high, because you have so much speed on the boundary that you can make safeties choose. And the safety chose just a little bit too late. And when you have a guy like Ross who can stretch the field so quickly, that split second where he's of indecision is what makes the difference between maybe an incomplete pass and 6 points on the board.
Yeah. I mean, Dalton got it out, when he had to, but it was pretty clean pockets up until that point,
Mm-hmm. And this was similar to I think the Ravens game back in week 2, where the Bengals put up a lot of points in the first half. They had a lot of success throwing the ball down the field, and the protection held up. And then once we got to the second half, just like the Ravens defense made some adjustments, the Falcons defense also made some adjustments. They diversify their pressure packages a little bit more, and they ended up running more cover 2 style defenses. And that's kind of the theme that we saw from the Falcons defense in the second half. And that's why the Bengals only put up 6 points up until here we are, the final drive of the game. So let's get the situation here. We just passed the 2-minute warning. We just had a crucial Tyler Boyd third down conversion. We had a near Andy Dalton sack. We had an Andy Dalton scramble out of the pocket for a first down. Now we have 2nd and 8, ball on the 35-yard line, just under 2 minutes to play. And this is kind of where Tyler Boyd really made a statement of really how his game is translated into his third year. But again, another common theme from this final drive was Vic Beasley. His speed rush was getting the best of Cordy Glenn off this left edge here and almost caused travesty, as Dalton had to kind of hold on to the ball just a little bit longer, had to pull it back. Fortunately, it was called an incomplete pass. But let's check out the play design about where Dalton wanted to go with this ball. So again, Falcons this time, they're in cover 2. We have 2 deep safeties covering 2 halves of the field. Slot corners playing off coverage, giving out outside leverage, and this is perfect for what the Bengals are calling. They're running a little bit of a levels concept here with CJ Uzomah running into the flat, Tyler Boyd kind of running that 15 to 10-yard deep out, and John Ross here on the boundary, kind of making the safety hesitate just long enough to crash down on this route. So we're going to have Ross opening up space for Boyd, running this deep out, and that's exactly where Dalton wants to throw this ball. And if Dalton is able to throw this ball cleanly, this is likely a first down. And instead, it's an unfortunate incomplete pass that leads to a 3rd and long. But this is that Boyd had 2 crucial 4th down conversions, a couple 3rd down conversions, and he's the reason why the Bengals ended up where they were at the end of the drive. And this is just another play that would have worked if had not for protection issues up front. Now we're going to see some of Corey Glenn's issues here from the end zone angle here. Again, it's a pretty clean rep from Glenn, but I think over the past 2 weeks he's just had a lot of trouble with speed. And again, he's 340 pounds, so if you have a speedy rusher like Vic Beasley off the edge, you could have an advantageous matchup with Glenn throughout the day. And I think he gave up about 5 to 6 pressures here, and they were all very similar. Sometimes Glenn just couldn't force his assignment out of the pocket, couldn't run him out the arc. Beasley made a good play that, unfortunately, for the Falcons, only ended up in an incomplete pass instead of a fumble.
So is this the same Glenn that we saw in Buffalo, or is he a lesser player?
I don't know, to be honest. I think we've seen a little bit of both, and I don't know. I don't think that enough time has passed for Glenn to really have fallen off, because he's still under 30 years old. As far as we know, he's still healthy. I think he's just in a rough patch. He's just playing really inconsistent. But something that's always been with Glenn is that he'd always struggled with speed, and that always came with the territory of him being so big. We had the luxury of watching Andrew Woodworth at 330 pounds, lock down any edge rusher that he went against, and he was just a much more special athlete compared to Glenn. And obviously, Glenn is not at Woodworth's level in terms of pass protection, and that's just kind of the trade-off that we just have to accept at this point.
Yeah.
So here we have 3rd and 17. following a couple plays later. And we're going to see Dalton, again, go to Boyd in the slot. And Boyd, at the start of this route, he actually gets good separation off of Desmond Trufant. He gets Desmond to turn his hips really quick. But Trufant does a good job of recovering, getting inside that hip pocket of Boyd. Paul wants to throw this ball the whole way to Boyd. And unfortunately, Trufant places perfectly. All he has to do is make the catch, and he does not. It goes right through his hands. But this again, like, look at the rest. Look at the other route combinations on this play. Nothing really opens up for the Bengals here. We have Ross kind of running a deep clear out. We have Green running a corner. The safety's all on him. Again, that's part of that adjustment, because maybe this route becomes a little bit more open if they don't have another deep safety playing over the top of Green. And we have the tight end Uzoma kind of running a crosser. He's not open. I think that's Mark Walden trying to get into the flat. He's not open. Nothing really comes open, but where does Dalton throw? He throws it to Boyd, because the two of them have established a sort of a chemistry that I think is going to help them out in the long term. And this is just really good coverage by the Falcons, and almost put the Bengals in a hole that they couldn't come out of.
So what is it about Boyd that makes him such a good security blanket?
I think it's who he is as an athlete. He's really shifty off the line of scrimmage. That gets him a lot of free releases. One of the biggest problems with AJ Green in his first couple of years is that he couldn't handle press. And I think Boyd has done a good job. And obviously playing in the slot will get you out of press in the first place, because not a lot of slot cornerbacks are going to press you at the line of scrimmage. So Boyd is good when he has a free release. He gets separation in and out of his breaks, because I think his hips are really nice, and that's something that we've seen improved in his time. He's always had reliable hands. He's always been able to finish his routes well, and those are qualities that have been with him since his days in college. So it's really just some crucial areas that have really improved over the last year and a half after that disappointing sophomore season that's helped him become what he is today. And all those things really help out here. Here he's in the slot again. Gets Trufant off that free release to really flip his hips really quick. Trufant has to turn around completely in this point. If you're a receiver, if you have the cornerback, or the slot defender in this case, on here, you know you have him on the ropes, because the sticks are about right here. Boys can just turn around to the top, gets that separation, gets that clean space they need at the catch point to make a catch. The timing with Dalton is perfect. He releases this right as Boyd is breaking off the top of his route. There was only one place that this ball was going to go, and that was right to Dalton's security blanket and Boyd. And this is just only, again, one of the fourth down conversions that we're going to cover here. But the release off the line of scrimmage is what's so crucial here, and we're going to see that in a minute too.
Yeah, there's a lot of space in the middle of the field there. Looks like maybe they're looking for an out route or something.
Mm-hmm. And I think on this play, we're going to, and just on the last two plays that we went over, Falcons were in a lot of two-man under, which is just man coverage underneath two deep shells, and that's part of that adjustment that we talked about earlier. But Boyd is the kind of receiver that has shown he can separate from man coverage, and especially in the slot, that's such a valuable tool that you can have to attack the middle of the defense for the passing game. So now we have a couple plays later. Some plays don't work out. They targeted AJ Green in the back of the end zone. I think Cordy Glenn got called for illegal hands to the face. Among another failed play, we have 4th and 6. Boyd in the slot, going up once again against Desmond Trufant. That hard outside jab step, right? A little swipe of the hand. Trufant doesn't get a clean hand on him. And then, bam, whip route. And the whip route is basically what looks like at the time just a little drag route, where he's going to separate right off of this break towards the outside. The timing of Dalton again is perfect, and this is more gutsy than it looks, because at this point Boyd has the first down, but he's trying to get as much yards as he can, so he dives for that, and his head actually gets sandwiched in between the ground and this defender here. And another good play by Boyd, another great example of how he gets separation through the nuance of his route running, right? It's that efficient jab step to the outside, just a little shove, but again, within 5 yards, so it's not called for pass interference. Easy separation. You can tell why Dalton is so reliant on him now and on these underneath throws in these crucial situations. Boyd was known as that third down target going into this game. Now he can add fourth down target to his resume as well. And this is even a better example of how much separation he gets and what kind of bind he really puts Trufant in here, because at this point there's just no way that with the way that Boyd separated with his hands, there's no way that Trufant can make up that grounded time.
Yeah, I like a couple of things about Dalton on this play too. Like I like that, first he's looking in the middle of the field. He's not giving away where he's going with the ball. And then I like that he looks more calm and composed in the pocket in these kind of situations than I've ever seen before. And he's had better protection in the past, but we recall so many games, end of the game, where he gets sacked or something because he doesn't necessarily know where to go with the ball immediately. But because of Boyd, it seemed like he almost knows every time where to go.
Right.
And that's giving him a lot more confidence. And of course, we got to give shout outs to Alex Van Pelt and Bill Lazor for the work they've done with building Dalton, really.
I would agree. And I think in the past couple years when the offensive line obviously was at that level, sometimes some of these throws, we would see Dalton kind of take a 5 or 7 step drop in the pocket just to give him a little bit more space to step up, because we were so accustomed to seeing that the pocket collapsing really quickly. But here we just have a 3-step drop because the ball needs to come out fast because of how quick the route develops. And that enhanced protection makes this play possible, makes this play call possible, because you're able to give Dalton a 3-step drop because the pocket doesn't collapse so quickly. Protection holds up just long enough for this play call to execute to perfection. And of course, this leads to the play of the game. It's over here. That's beautiful, my friend. This throw.
Oh man, that angle. I don't know if you have it, but that angle that they posted.
Right. It was the guy posted about right down here, and it looked like the ball was going right towards his camera, but it ended up in the arms of Green.
Yeah, and you can see 2 defenders swiping at it, desperately, extending their arms, and it's just beyond their grasp. It was a perfect throw. It was amazing.
Right, and you can see those 2 defenders here. This is it's so hard to play quarterback in the NFL, man. And on this show, I know you've always been on Dalton's side, but me and Hoji, sometimes we gave Dalton a little bit, just a little bit of constructive criticism. But at the end of the day, only so few people in the world can do this.
Yeah,
can play this position, and this is one of the throws that it just amazes me that it's even possible.
Yeah, look, it travels about 25 yards, let's say, the ball, right?
Mm-hmm. This is the hypotenuse too. That's like closer to 40.
Oh, there you go. Yeah, but so that's the thing, is Dalton has always had the accuracy. He's always had that. It's the composure allowing him to make the throw, as if he's in practice. That's what we're seeing now. It's like he's making the throw as if it was any other time, as opposed to, letting the moment get to him or letting the pass rush get to him. He's just so, it looks like he's finally, we talked about Dalton, how he was, didn't develop that much after he came to the league. He was kind of the same player, other than 2015. Right? See other quarterbacks, they develop dramatically. This is the first time, I think, even more than 2015, where you've seen Dalton really develop one area of his game that everybody wanted him to do so,
Right. And that's something that not a lot of quarterbacks can do so late in their careers. Yeah. Sure. But I guess we kind of glossed over the play concept here, and I guess we'll go over that real quickly. In the booth, we had Bruce Arians kind of call out this coverage perfectly. This is just classic cover 2, which is it's a fine play call when you're playing this close to the end zone, because you don't want a safety patrolling all this space back here. And what's going to happen in cover 2 is that you're going to have the cornerbacks here. They're going to play the flat routes, right? They're going to play anything that comes up short of the end zone. Safeties are going to play anything to the end zone back. But what happens is the cornerback is too occupied with this flat route, and he doesn't realize that Green is going to have the space to make this catch if he doesn't maintain some depth back here. Paul knows this. He knows that he can't the cornerback can't recover back and flip his hips back enough to actually track this ball, and that gives him just enough space to actually make this throw work. This is a bad play by the cornerback to not get enough depth to recognize where he is on the field, to recognize what route that Green is running, because he's looking at the play the whole way. He's turning his hips back to Green. He's not actually playing the flat route, because if he was, he would be turning his hips towards Walden here. But it was that one mistake by, I think this is a rookie, Isaiah Oliver, that allows this play to actually work, and not to mention that the ball barely graces over the linebacker's hands.
Yeah.
So that to me makes this play even more impressive, because they had the coverage to beat this throw, and that makes it an even more lower percentage throw that actually ended up working to absolute perfection.
Yeah, and let's give credit to AJ Green too. I mean, a guy of his size.
Hell of a catch.
Yeah, a guy of that size, extending like that, and yeah, very impressive catch as well. But he's AJ Green. We expect that. Yeah, we haven't seen a catch like this, like I think since that 2015 game against the Steelers that we won, right? I think it was that one.
Yeah, it was some. I think it was a Steelers game. I'm not sure what year, but
yeah, that was a fun game. Fun game.
Look, Mixon enjoyed it.
Mixon enjoyed that catch. That's great to see, though. I mean, I love Mixon's attitude. He really wants to play. He really wants to be out there. He knows what this team can do. I love that. The defense, Burfict's back. He was at practice today. He comes back. Maybe we're not allowing 35 points. And if that's the case, with the way this offense is rolling, Mixon comes back. I don't know. It's something special.
That would help.
Yeah, sure. It's in a special team. It's really. So I want to address some comments real quick. Okay. So someone asked about the puppets, the Aries 323. And look, we are trying to get the puppets made. We got the money, we raised the money, GoFundMe, and I've contacted the puppet maker, but she hasn't gone back to me. And it's October. She was supposed to start working on them in October, so hopefully she gets back to me. A couple of other quick comments. So the winner for this drawing is actually John McIntosh, who is in the comment section right now. He won 2 drawings of Hoji. Yeah, we can answer questions. Someone asked if we answer questions. Sure, share your questions and we'll try to get to them if we have time. Okay, so John McIntosh won drawings. Hoji yells and waves his hand in the air, and a drawing of Hoji points something out. Now, if you want to win a drawing, you just have to subscribe, or if you already have subscribed, that's not necessary. You just leave a comment saying what you like about me or Hoji, and you can win a starting lineup figure if you say who you like best, Carl Pickens or Jeff Blake, and we're going to have drawings of those once a month. And we are going to obviously do the recap after the game against the Dolphins, so look out for that. We're going to try to do that as soon as we can after the game. And that is all I have. John, any other comments you have?
I'm looking forward to the game. Obviously, I don't think that the Dolphins, I wouldn't say they're a fraudulent 3-1 team. I think their defense could give the Bengals offense a little bit of fits, but it should be a good one. And we're also playing in orange jerseys, black pants. We've never lost in that combo, so I think it's going to be a good game. I think it's going to be a good warm up for the eventual Steelers matchup in a week from then.
Okay, so a couple of quick questions that we have. One is from Mob, and it says, "What's the latest news on Thomas Rawls and Auden Tate? Do you think they're going to see any action, John?"
There is no news on this too. Rawls, he has been practicing, but he might be active. I don't know if he'll get a lot of opportunities. On Tate, there needs to be more injuries at the receiver position for him to be active. So I don't expect him to play anytime soon. Okay, and what do you think about the performance of Trey Hopkins? I thought it was as good as we could expect from a guy who's hasn't played the position for an extended period of time. It's unfair to say that he's better than Price, because obviously Price is a rookie and Hopkins has had 4 years of experience under his belt. But I'm of the opinion, again, this is just one guy's opinion, that when Price comes back, whenever that may be, they should keep Hopkins at center and have Price replace Alex Redmond at right guard. I think that will mitigate some of the issues that Price has in run blocking. I don't think Alex Redmond has proven himself as a quality pass protector at right guard. And I think that the work Hopkins has put in the center should be rewarded by allowing him to continue there. I think he does some things better than Price. And I think that the pass protection has been the same, which has obviously been the main praise for Price through the first game and a half that he's played. So I think
run
Hopkins
blocking is better. His run blocking is better than Price.
I would say that it has been better than Price in certain situations. And
well, it's interesting. Yeah. This is what Rob Valet, who I'm sorry, Rob, I don't know how to pronounce your name. Valet. He suggested the same thing. He's a big fan of ours. He won a prize as well. But he said the same thing. Turn Price into the right guard and keep Hopkins at center. But we know the Bengals aren't risk takers like that.
Okay. Oh yeah, it probably won't happen, but I think that would yield better results than what they're going to do.
Yeah. A couple other questions we have here. Adolphus Washington, are we going to see him?
Maybe. I think that they're going to want to have playing the Steelers. I think they're going to have 4 defensive tackles active, so that could be the first game that he plays. Obviously, he wasn't going to be active for this game against the Falcons because he was just signed on Wednesday. But I guess we'll see we'll see if he stays healthy. I personally like having 3 techniques over 2 nose tackles, and one of those nose tackles being Josh Topu. I think Washington gives them more of a threat as a pass rusher. But we'll see, because obviously Sam Hubbard played a lot of defensive tackle against the Falcons because they were weak there, because they didn't want Topu playing that much, and they got burned for it, and he didn't do very well. So Washington could end up seeing the field this week, but I do think I do think he will play against Pittsburgh. I think that's a safe bet.
Okay. And all right. Now, and that question came from John McIntosh. By the way, John, if you reach out to me on Twitter with your address, you can send me a message on Twitter so you can get your drawings, or you can do it at our Facebook page, facebook.com/DH Sports TV. You can send a message there if you follow us. Anyways, find a way to get me your address. That came from John, so thank you for that question. A couple of the quick questions, and then we will be done here. So one was, how do you feel about Drake Kirkpatrick? Is he a liability?
Yes.
Yeah, I think that's a pretty easy one. And then I'm going to answer this one from Iman Carpenter. Do you think Dalton could be a top 10 quarterback this year? Yes, I do. And I don't know if he's going to finish top 10 in the stats. Okay, I don't know about that. But what he's doing is what top 10 quarterbacks do, which is he's coming up with big plays. Even before, when we look at the 2015 Dalton, we see a guy who's the maestro of this kind of, this fully functioning offense, everything working. Now we have issues, let's say offensive line mostly. And I know the pass protection has been a little better than the run blocking, but still, we had a top offensive line that year. Now we don't. We had Marvin Jones, a refined, polished, veteran receiver. And Tyler Boyd looks like that this year, but we had Marvin Jones and we had Sanu. This year he does not, and he doesn't have Eifert anymore. He didn't have Eifert nearly as much as he had that year. He hasn't been playing as much. So I see what Dalton's doing now is better than that year, even though the stats don't support that. But we all know those interceptions against the Panthers, at least 2 of them, we can't really say were bad passes. And yeah, so we have a troll in our comment section that's called Shank. He's a guy he was on our show a while ago, but he kind of went over to the dark side and became a Steelers fan. Don't be bothered by him. That's just what he does. Okay. Malik Jefferson, I don't think we're going to see him either. Right, John? We're probably not going to see him too much anytime soon.
No, not with Perfect back. This was Jefferson's chance to get on the field, and he couldn't do it.
So you're assuming that Perfect will get a lot of playing time early?
I think they'll probably say that they'll limit him against the Dolphins, but he'll end up playing half the snaps, which is not really limited. But no, he'll play a decent amount against Miami, and then the usual suspects will also play. Jefferson will not.
Okay. Well, that is all we have this time. We will see you after the Dolphins game. Thank you so much. So long. It's 50 pies.